So this task force is part of the overall NORTHCOM effort led by General O'Shaughnessy. And the way NORTHCOM is divided up the country essentially matches DISCA and how they do it. And so this is where we are as an Air Force-led JTF contributing to the national response to the COVID-19 crisis for regions 3 and 4 in the Southeast. And I'll tell you, I could not be prouder of the work that's going on here. So General O'Shaughnessy has organized his command and control under his Joint Force Land Component Commander, Army North. And so each of these task forces reports there that then reports to the commander to be able to make sure that the Department of Defense is offering everything that we have available in the national response. And in some areas that we're support TED, but in most areas we're supporting. And we're supporting Health and Human Services, we're supporting FEMA, and we ensure that in some ways we connect the dots, right, between demand and supply and what we have available as a department to be able to offer. You know, we started this journey actually, hard to believe, 7 years ago, when then Colonel Franks was my Chief of Staff, and Brigadier General Cobra Harigian was my one-star here at Shaw. And it became fairly clear that we needed to be able to stand up JTF, Joint Task Force Headquarters capacity within the Air Force, certify it with a certified JTF commander that could then be offered to a combatant commander, the chairman and the Secretary of Defense. And so we started building that over time, and who knew when we built it that we would be exactly what the nation needed to be able to take care of the Southeast region. And so, you know, one of the things you do as a leader is you plant seeds. You never know which seeds will hit fertile soil and which seeds will hit rock. And that seed planted 7 years ago hit fertile soil here in Shaw Air Force Base. The right leadership team, the right folks coming together to respond to a national crisis. You know, sometimes I'm reminded of the PJ motto, the pararescue motto, which is pretty personal for me. You know, these things we do that others might live. These things we're doing here in this JTF to ensure that we bring capability and capacity to the nation in those states that desperately need it so that others might live. And it's, you know, not only are we tracking, you know, those we lose tragically, but we're equally tracking those who recover. And those who are able to recover to a large part because of what we're able to bring forward in support of these national healthcare agencies. You know, the MVPs, the most valuable players in this national effort are our incredible healthcare workers, the docs, the nurses, the therapists, the techs that are out there on the front lines of this virus, attacking it with a vengeance and with passion. And so whatever we can do as a Department of Defense to support them, we ought to be doing it, and we do it through this task force in support of U.S. NORTHCOM. There is no question in my mind that this task force is ready to be able to step into the breach for whatever mission we ask of it, across the spectrum, from high-end conflict and combat operations to supporting a national response to a global pandemic and anything in between. This task force is ready. It's shown it's ready. It's proving itself every day. And under the leadership of now General Franks, in my mind, it is only going to continue to get better. We are now working our way through our next reset. We accomplished our first reset on 1 April, which was identifying the critical missions that we perform as an Air Force, where we should not expect any relief despite the virus. Nuclear operations, space operations, cyber operations, defense of the homeland, our Air National Guard doing Operation Noble Eagle, those things that the nation expects of us, we reset with blue silver teams and new operating procedures to ensure that we can continue operations. Now we're going through a next set, a reset, and that reset is how do we live with a cyclical virus in our midst for upwards of 18 months until there's a vaccine. A virus we know may go away, come back, and we're going to have to live and operate. How do we change our operating procedures to live and operate in that environment? And the good news is the ability to survive and operate which we call ATSO, is actually not that deeply buried in our DNA. Most of us grew up with this. MOP levels, apple orchards, aircraft decontamination, split MOP procedures. These are actually all in our DNA. And so what I've asked commanders to do is let's dust them off, because this is a virus we're going to be living with that's cyclical. We may be upwards of 18 months to a vaccine, and the nation depends on its Air Force to be able to continue to operate and survive in that environment. That's the next reset that we're going through right now. My message to airmen is to just really more than anything, just to say thank you for stepping into the breach, stepping up when the nation needs us most, and a thanks to our families as well, who support us and take care of us so we can take care of the mission.